Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking about the recall election for Gavin Newsom in the state of California. I'm going to be discussing a wide variety of things when it comes to the general opinions that I've seen online from people on the internet, the defeatist attitudes that I've seen, why I think the Republicans should vote to recall Gavin Newsom, why I think Democrats should vote to recall Gavin Newsom, which I think a lot of people are going to have a whole lot of trouble with, especially with the general leaning direction of most people in the state of California. And then who I think you should vote for. That's not going to be as satisfying of a answer, I think, for a lot of you, but it is something that we will mention. So before we do get going, though, I do want to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video. It is Savior Equipment. If you're not familiar with who they are, they're a big supporter of me, big supporter of the Second Amendment. They manufacture really high quality range bags for your rifles, your pistols, just your range gear in general. I've been using them for a long time, and then they actually hit me up to do a sponsorship back in the first event that I did down at Route 66. So it's a very cool company. They do a lot to support the Second Amendment. They've donated a ton of money, a ton of product to help support organizations that are truly fighting for the battles that need to be fought. Thank you again to Savior Equipment. So let's talk about the first thing, the opinions that I've seen on the internet, the attitudes that I've seen surrounding this when it comes to people in the gun sphere specifically. I'm not going to talk too much about just the general public because that's not really who my audience is. My audience is gun owners, Second Amendment advocates, / those two things of people in California. So I have been on a lot of forums over the past year or so watching this whole process develop, and I haven't really talked much about it publicly on this channel because I kind of wanted to just see how it went, see how things progressed, see how everything played out before we really got to a point where I could confidently talk about what's going on. And one of the big things that I saw back in the early stages of this was that people that were acknowledging that they don't like how the California legislature can pass anything they want when it comes to gun control, and Gavin Newsom will automatically sign it. They acknowledge that that's a shitty situation for us to be in, and I'm going to try to keep the cursing in this video to a minimum. They say that's terrible, don't like that, unhappy with it, voice their concerns, voice their frustrations. And then they will say, this whole recall election is a waste of time and a waste of money, and criticize the entire thought process of even wanting it to happen. And I think that would have been a fine argument to make prior to the actual election being scheduled and actually being solidified. Now that it is happening, those same people that have been saying that they think this is a terrible situation to be in with the way our legislature is set up, those same people are now saying that they still think it's a waste of time and that they aren't going to vote and they think this is stupid. Okay, for the losers out there, the absolute losers who have just given up and want to wallow in their sadness, leave. Stop having these conversations with us. Stop bringing everybody down. Just stop it. If you're going to be a loser and you don't want to try anymore, stop engaging in conversation. Nobody cares about your loser defeatist attitude, okay? Because what we have right here is a situation where we could potentially do something. And I understand the odds. I very much understand the odds. I'm very realistic in my expectations here. However, there have been many polls which show that the odds of someone saying yes to would you like to recall Gavin Newsom is much more favorable than we initially thought. Some of the polls, which you have to be a little skeptical, are outweighing the no. So more people are wanting to recall Gavin Newsom on some polls than the people that want to keep him. That's great news if you don't like the situation we're currently in, which those people have admitted. So for the losers out there, go ahead and leave. You don't need to watch the rest of this video. That's fine. Now, the Republicans, the conservatives, the more right-leaning, or probably even the more libertarian-leaning people of this audience, the people that watch these videos, it's pretty clear why you would want to recall Gavin Newsom. I don't really think I need to explain too much about that. We have a situation where the liberal Democratic state legislator can just pass anything they want, and Gavin Newsom will sign it off. Even if it's not related to guns, I'm sure some of your political ideals don't line up with the way things are set up right now. At the same time, we have the Democrats. Why would I think that you should still vote to recall Gavin Newsom? And again, this is going to be the part that most people have issues with my argument. I'm sure there's going to be some very well-educated people in here that are going to try to poke a bunch of holes in it, and that's fine. I believe what I believe, you believe what you believe. Let's get into it. So, for the liberal gun owners, the Democratic gun owners, the left-leaning gun owners, why would you want to, in my opinion, why would you want to recall a Democrat and potentially replace him with a Republican? It doesn't really make sense generally, right? The reason that I believe that you should is because the way things are set up, as we've touched on, the legislature in the state of California has a Democratic supermajority, meaning that if there is a bill that they truly want to pass and they want to pass it hard enough, they will get it through no matter what. However, having a Republican that can veto stuff means that some of those bills that are not as favorable for the majority, the supermajority, they can veto it, meaning that it won't pass. Shit, I mean, even Jerry Brown vetoed some gun control bills that would have banned all semi-autos, I believe, back in like 2014, something around then, maybe 2015, can't remember off the top of my head. But there were a ton of laws that would have been passed under Jerry Brown, and he was not pro-gun. So if we have a Republican up there that is pro-gun, on paper pro-gun, or pretends to be pro-gun, because we all know, two wings of the same bird. Yeah, I get it. Ramble on all you want. Down the Lolbertarians, feel free to ramble all you want. I get it. However, I think that there is a big move to be had here, because all those policies that you truly want, that the Democrats are all rallying behind, if they actually wanted to pass them, they could get it through with a supermajority just fine. We've seen with AB 1223, the excise tax that would have been put on ammunition and firearms is basically dead in limbo right now because it lacks the actual votes that it needs. It needs to get a 2/3 vote because it would be changing some of the tax laws. And that gun control bill, which Mark Levine and many other Democrats want, has been unable to pass for a while now. And it's basically sitting dead in limbo. It could still come back at some point. But that is a good sign. That shows that not all bills can pass without that supermajority. So let's say Republican is the governor. They see a gun control bill come to their desk and they say, not a fan of that, don't like that, veto it. Now, if they don't have that supermajority veto-proof voting status, it might not pass. And that's great. That gives an opportunity to have some sort of checks and balances, because the way it's set up right now is basically free reign on anything that they want to pass. I understand that there are probably a ton of loopholes and plot holes and things that are wrong with the arguments that I've made. But I think right now is the perfect opportunity for the Californians who are liberal gun owners or Democrat gun owners to actually do something and vote in a way that isn't going to be actively harming the Second Amendment. Like, let's be real for a second. Democrats are the ones who are actively pushing the most gun control. If you live in the state of California, some of the worst shit that we have to deal with is all because the Democrats said guns bad. And yes, I understand. Reagan was a big pile of shit. Reagan passed the open carry bans, the machine gun bans, and was critical to the passing of the 94 assault weapon ban federally. Without their support, it wouldn't have happened. So I understand that Republicans are not necessarily always our friends when it comes to guns. Again, two wings on the same bird. However, this is an opportunity to have less suck in the future. I know a lot of Republicans are blindly thinking, if we get a Republican governor in there, all of a sudden a bunch of pro-gun bills are going to pass. And when same thing happened with Trump. When Trump was elected, everybody was like, Trump's going to save California. He's going to save the Second Amendment. And I worked in a gun store back then, and we told people straight up, no, that's not going to happen. They could just veto or pass laws. They can't really do a lot of the stuff that a lot of people are saying is going to happen. So this governor is not going to be some groundbreaking, amazing Second Amendment advocate. But it could be potentially an outcome where we see someone that would veto a bill that Newsom would pass. So, as far as who I think you should vote for, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. Here's what I'm going to do. The day of the election, I'm going to make sure that I can get the time off work in the middle of the day to go vote. Okay? I'm going to open up my phone, and I'm going to look and see who is the highest polling Republican candidate. And then I'm going to vote for that person. It's that simple. I see a lot of people wanting Larry Elder. He seems to be the highest polling at the time that I looked at the most recent information, but that could change. So for me, if I open up my phone and I see Larry Elder, regardless of whatever other policies, I don't care. I don't care about all the other stuff. I'm going to vote on guns in this one situation where you can vote on guns and it be a viable tactic that doesn't destroy everything else you believe in. Because again, the Democrats would still have the power to pass all the bills that they actually really want to pass without the completely unfettered ability to pass gun control. Let me know what you guys think down below. I think that this is going to be a very polarizing topic. I think a lot of people are going to be very frustrated because, let's be real, a lot of people in California are liberal and left-leaning, and me saying vote for a Republican is not going to be very, it's not going to taste very good in their mouth hearing that. But it is what it is. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.